Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing day 6, let's review. Like the name of the question suggests, we are reviewing all the concepts that we have learned from day 0 to day 5. And to be specific, this question will be testing us more on strings and for loops. For this task, we're given a string s of length n that is indexed from 0 to n minus 1. And we have to print its even indexed and odd indexed characters as two space-separated strings on a single line. So that was quite a mouthful, but what that means is for a given string like hacker, we will print out the even indexed characters, which is H, C, and E, followed by a space, and then odd indexed characters A, K, R. And we have to do this for every single line that is given to us. Notice that the sample input consists of one input, which represents the number of lines of test cases that we have after this number. And for every single test case or strings, we will have to format this accordingly like what we saw earlier. So with that, let's get started. In this case, HackerRank isn't so nice to do the input-output for us. So what this means is we have to read in the number of test cases as well as the strings ourselves. But it's okay, we managed to explore this in the previous challenge. So let's do that together. So first, let's read in the test case on the first line. And in this case, this is an integer. Let's alias that as t. And to get this, we can pipe the input from cin into t like this. And after we read in t, there might be some new line characters or spaces that follow afterwards. So to prevent any issues of accidentally reading them in, when we try to get the next line, let's do cin.ignore. Specify the number of characters that you want to ignore or until you see a new line character. So the net effect is that we have ignored all subsequent spaces that follow after t. Now the next thing is to use this t together with a for loop to read in the number of test cases that we have. So for int test case equals to 0, test case less than t, test case plus plus. So this has the net effect of reading in the same number of lines as t. So now that we have this for loop, we can start defining the logic that we will execute for every single line that we see. So the first step, of course, would be to read in the line. So to do that, we can define a string current line. And to read that in, let's use getLine and pipe the input from cin into current line. And now that we have this line, we're ready to iterate through this whole line to get the even index first, followed by the odd index characters. So to iterate through the even index characters, let's define a simple integer called even index. Let this be equals to 0. And for the for loop condition for iterating, let's set this to be even index less than the length of the current line length. And even index, let's increment that by 2 after every even index that we iterate. And this makes sense because after you read in index 0, you wouldn't want to read index 1. You want to read index 2. So to ensure that we continue to iterate through only the even indexes, we can increment the even index by 2 after every iteration. So now that we get every single even index as we go through this string, we can just see out this current character. So let's do current line, access the current character at this even index, and that's pretty much it. This will have the net effect from line 20 to line 22 of printing out all the even index characters like this. The next thing is to see out the string, the single line string over here, and let's do the same for the odd index as well. So odd index less than current line length, odd index plus equals to 2. And this would have the net effect of reading index 1, index 3, index 5, so on and so forth until you reach the end of the string. So similarly, we would see out current line for this odd index as well. And we would just finish printing this line with a new end line character. So with that, at this point, we're done. Let's run this code. This passes, and let's submit this. And this passes all the test cases. So in summary, we use a combination of strings together with for loops to go through every single line in the sample input. And we also use the for loops to iterate through characters inside the strings. And to be specific, we use them with a step of 2 to iterate all the even index characters followed by the odd index characters. So that's pretty much it for this challenge. I hope this demonstration was of value to you. And if it was, please give us a like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.